Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Toned In Entertainment, where we love pop culture. Today, it's time for another movie look back review. Now, I remember when this movie was released, it had a lot of buzz around it, not only because of its subject matter, but also because of the music video and song by Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. Now, I remember seeing this movie in the theaters, and I remember really enjoying it. But has it stood the test of time? Well, it's time to look back at Dangerous Minds, released back in 1995. The movie stars Michelle Pfeiffer as Louanne Johnson, Renoly Santiago as Raul Sanchero, Wade Dominguez as Emilio Ramirez, Bruklin Harris as Callie Roberts, and was directed by John N. Smith. Former Marine Louanne Johnson has been eagerly awaiting an opportunity to take on a job as a teacher, and when a position opens at a local school, she excitedly accepts. Now, Louanne shows up for her first day of teaching, and this is not what she expected at all when she accepted this job. Essentially, she's going to be teaching a group of high school kids that the system and other teachers that have come before her have essentially forgotten about. She's going to realize just why these kids are sectioned off from the rest of the high school, as they're so bad to her on her first day, they actually almost cause her to quit. Now, being a former Marine, Louanne toughs it out, and she actually shows up for day number 2, which is something that most other teachers probably wouldn't have had if they had the same experience she had on day number 1. But she decides when she shows up for the classroom the next day, she's gonna take a different approach with these kids and to teach them just a standard curriculum, things that haven't worked for these kids in the past, by teaching them poetry, interesting way of learning verbs, and even karate. Now, while unusual, her teaching techniques actually begin to work with these kids. But of course, the powers that be, who had no idea how to teach these kids, let alone get them to behave, come down on Miss Johnson, and they give her an ultimatum: either follow the curriculum or face the consequences. Now, while her techniques are certainly different, Miss Johnson believes what she is doing is actually working for these kids, and she's going to take her motivation outside the classroom as well. She visits students' house, Callie and Raul, just to tell their parents how wonderful their kids are, what great job they're doing, and what potential she sees in them. And she even goes beyond that, and she takes the entire class on a field trip. Finally, these kids, probably for the first time in their lives, they feel that somebody has got their back. Now, Emilio Ramirez, who's essentially the head of the class, gets into quite the predicament when his girlfriend's ex is released from jail, and the ex warns Emilio that he's coming back to get his girlfriend back, and if he stands in his way, well, there's going to be a price to pay. When Miss Johnson gets word of the predicament that Emilio's in, she actually invites him over to stay at her house for safe refuge. Now, Louanne does come up with a game plan on how to keep Emilio safe and at the same time not come off as a snitch, which is something he was majorly concerned about. The next morning when Louanne wakes up, well, she finds out that Emilio has already bailed, but Emilio was actually going to follow the advice of Louanne. When he went to go meet with school officials, well, they brushed him off, which unfortunately led to a major tragedy. Now, do I recommend you guys check out the movie Dangerous Minds? Yes, I do. Even 25 years later, I feel like those of us that grew up in this time period watching it here in 2020, this movie is still relatable. And even if you're a bit younger and didn't grow up during this time period, or you've never even seen this movie, I feel like the situations that these characters go through are still relatable to this day. Now, while Dangerous Minds isn't currently streaming for free on any of your favorite platforms, it is available to rent for as little as $3.99. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Dangerous Minds an 8 out of 10. While not as powerful a movie as I remember watching it back in 1995 in the movie theater, it was still a really good watch. The kids here in this movie are really good and believable, but it's definitely Michelle Pfeiffer who steals the show as the teacher. She generally comes off as a teacher who not only cares, but would stick with these kids through thick and thin. Now, when was the last time you guys watched Dangerous Minds, and what do you remember about this movie, and have you thought about going back and rewatching it here in 2020? Now, did you guys know they actually made a Dangerous Minds television series? Well, yes, they did. And honestly, I don't remember ever watching this TV show. Now, it did run for 17 episodes in 1996 to 1997, about a year after the movie came out. How does this TV show stack up? Well, I'm going to take a look back at Dangerous Minds, the TV show, coming up tomorrow here on Toned In Entertainment. So guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.